What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Powerstroke Tech Talk Podcast number 7. We have DS Trucks up here in the top left, and we have Matt down here on the bottom. Welcome back, everybody. Like I said, this is the 7th one. We were going through the comments of some of the past podcasts to see what everybody was talking about, what people have been just kind of rummaging around through with their comments, as what they're doing to their trucks, what they didn't like about the podcast, what they wanted to add, what they want to see, yada yada. We're going to put everybody's social media links in the description, a link to my email, and if you want to get on the podcast, make sure to reach out to me and we'll put you in queue. So I know Matt's queued up here. He's got some stuff he was looking through the comments on last
we got
podcast.
A lot of things.
5.
I think we had. I was going through a couple of them. There's some from there's some suspension things about people asking some stuff with steering wheel oscillations, because we can't call it the other thing, death wobble. There was someone asking about undercoating and stuff. So I think someone even asked about Kelderman suspension, like the guys that do the whole airbag setup.
Wow, I think I remember. Oh, I wanted to add, I just want to talk briefly on a little bit about 2 sweet jump packs that I got. I have an upcoming video that I made at work talking about these 2 and a couple of other ones that I've had in the past. And just kind of, it's getting cold weather season, and we're going to need to start looking for jump packs and so on. So
wow, man.
Are you guys cold weather guys? You guys
those
like
are
the cold?
pretty.
Do you like the cold weather?
Yeah, I do.
Tired of it.
I like it. I actually am a little disappointed
You
that
don't
it's
like
not
to
cold.
you don't like to go ski or snowmobile or something?
No.
No, that's boring.
No. It's weird. I've never
You live in
skied.
such a good state for it.
It's so weird. I've never skied ever.
No, me either.
I mean, you guys have a handful of places around you can go to too. I'm a little disappointed.
Like where? Downtown Detroit, there's an ice skating rink. That's about all we got.
No, you guys got Pine Knob, you got Brighton, you got all those places over there.
Yeah, downtown Detroit, there's an ice rink. No,
maybe I'll go to Pine Knob tomorrow.
I think you might have a lot more. You've got a lot more. Where's Pine Knob from here? Where is that?
DTE Energy Music Theater, that big old hill that's over there.
That's out by me. I never even knew that.
Yeah.
That people are ice skating down that or ice skiing or whatever.
Ice skiing, yep.
I mean, where we are, yeah, you're ice skiing.
Dude, it's been so warm, dude. It's been so warm.
I need
this.
My buddy's up north right now. He was texting me. He said there's mad snow right now. I'm like, oh man.
I would love that. I want it to
be weather change. It's ball joint and steering season now, boys. No, you know what it really is? It's tank heater season right now.
It is, definitely. I've done 3. 2 this week. I got 1 to do on Monday.
I think I did 1 last week. You guys want the biggest life hack for doing tank heaters? Bring the truck in the night before. Then you don't have to freeze your hands off.
Oh, most definitely. Are you kidding me?
Whoa, there's a tank heater on the 6.7s? I didn't know this.
What percentage?
Yep.
Excuse me. What percent? This is for all the other techs out there besides Matt and myself. What percentage of tank heaters do you do pickup versus cab chassis? Do you do more of one or more of the other? I think I probably do more cab chassis than pickup. If I were to think,
I would say the same. And my favorite ones to do
are
cab chassis that have, especially when they have a dump bed on them or it's an outboard tank.
Yeah.
Oh, I love me
Most
a good
definitely.
dump truck.
So this tank heater,
easy.
The tank heater that warms up the fuel before it hits the.
No, you naughty, you teasing me? No.
Don't say nothing. Let's retract that statement and say that over again.
What does the tank heater do?
What tank would we be talking about?
You could be talking about the diesel exhaust fluid, or you could be talking about the fuel. I don't know. Is it
nope,
for the
it is in
fluid?
your DEF tank.
Oh,
the reason
except ours is different than what we're talking about. Ours is the new updated style.
Did they change it for 2020?
Well, it's like the same as, it's a little different.
It's still got the jellyfish at the bottom of the tank.
Yeah, it's still got the jellyfish, but I think the reductant quality module and like the dosing module is different, comparing between like 17, 18, and 19 than to 20. But I saw a cab chassis that didn't have anything on the back, and I mean the DEF tank looked different than the normal DEF tanks that I saw. But speaking of which, I made a video. It's coming up here in the next, actually, probably literally right at the end of the year. Probably one of my last videos for the end of the year. Have you ever had an Alumiduty with a P203B where you had to reprogram the urea sensor?
The quality module.
Yeah, with a handheld little black box.
I don't think we've had one. I don't think we've had one in yet. But we got the box in like what, August?
I don't know when we got ours. I don't even know.
I don't even think we've used it yet.
Wow, yeah. Well, I was the first to use it because you had to pull the little sticker out of the battery door. And I mean, it was pretty cool, like hooking this. I mean, not that it was a big deal, but you know, you're hooking something up, you're not turning the key on, you're not hooking to the OBD, you're flipping this switch.
Yeah,
you using a 9-volt battery. Yeah, and it's it literally took, it says wait 60 seconds, but I mean it took probably 30 seconds, literally. So I wanted to show it. It was an easy repair. I mean, if somebody gets out in the field, or you know, if it was, you know, Sean, for instance, and he was, you know, Mr. Landscaper dude and had this come on with his truck, it's not something you're going to fix up at the shop. You know, have to.
Would you agree on like the new aluminum trucks? You don't really see as many DEF concerns as we did with previous, like the first and second gens.
I will say that I've heard that they've made so many updates, man. Like the pumps, the DEF pumps used to be noisy, and now they're not. I might have even seen that. I might have heard that from you guys, to be honest.
They traded that off for the injector being louder than heck for the first couple years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember where I saw that. I don't know if it was you guys.
But as far as like heater failures, it seems like it's more NOx related.
I don't know. I've done way more.
I think I've had like
cab chassis problems.
2 or 3 17 or 18 pickups that I had to replace the whole, like the whole SCR, I guess you could call it if you wanted to, but like the whole DEF tank harness and the tank itself, because it had water in it. And the wires were just greener than could be.
I had a cab chassis, so it was, you know, like an 11 through 16 body style. And it had what kind of body would you call that? I guess it would be like a service body, utility body. It had a bunch of doors and everything. It was a super long one, and I mean super long, but like the frame had been extended. You know, it was like the real long 6.7. Like god damn. So whoever did the upfit didn't tighten like the generic hose that they cobbled together to go from the side of the service body all the way over the frame and over, you know, a cross member, and, you know, wasn't going down the whole time. It was kind of going up. Well, regardless, it was allowing dirt. I took this DEF tank down, and there was literally so much mud and muck and sediment. Like it was pretty nasty, and the guy didn't know how it got in there. Obviously, you know, I kind of was trying to piece a story together, and he was, oh my gosh, I hadn't had any idea that this was, you know, happening this while I was driving. So it was, you know, something we had to did I replace the tank? I think I cleaned the tank, but I had to replace, you know, all the guts and the line, the injector, blah blah blah, and I haven't seen him ever back again. But it's some of these repairs, I think, I can't say that the DEF heater senders are going to be, this replacement that we've been doing is cause for contamination. It's like, I think some of the other DEF repairs that we do, like if we do pumps and I don't know.
Dude, it's weird because there's like one specific company that I will do, or like our store collectively will do pumps on more than any other company. And
Really?
their fleet isn't much bigger than anyone else's, and we don't know why.
Well, it's like, probably their DEF cleanliness is probably
it could be
shit.
because they have a pretty they do have a large fleet, so it could be their DEF quality is taking pumps out.
Are they doing it in a 50-gallon drum? Or
I have no clue.
They could be going to a good truck stop.
That could be a good conversation to have with them because it seems like once a month we have one of their trucks coming in and one of us ends up putting a pump on it. There's even like the TSB out for it, so I don't know if it's in between a certain model year of pumps that were on trucks that time, but
So we had to change some camera angles here, but we got some Bodybuilder.
No. This had to go back to the aluminum trucks because I said we don't really replace a lot of DEF things. How often do you have the aluminum truck come in that's got a body on it? It's a cabin chassis. It's got something on the back, and it's got reductant pressure codes, like an overpressure code and a heater circuit open code.
How, on an aluminum duty?
Yeah, like
I don't think I ever get DEF problems on the newer aluminum duties, except for
I've had it happen. We'll usually have it happen when a new truck comes in or someone has just gotten their truck because the Bodybuilder took a U-bolt and neglected to see the DEF line on the left frame rail and didn't throw it under the line and just smashes it straight into the frame.
Yeah. Remember, I made that video where I saw it was an upfitter for a dump truck, and the bolts that they ran through the frame that secured their bracket to the side of the frame they didn't look on the other side, and it went like right on the after treatment harness, and so this harness sat here on the bolt and was like,
you know what else grinds my gears? When you're like, oh, hey, I'm going to do a tank heater. I'm going to drop the bracket down. You can't because there's either a toolbox up against it or they put a bracket over the bolt or something. That grinds my gears.
That's exactly what I have to do on Monday is that it's not a dump truck, but it's like a dump stake bed. You know what I mean? So they could put like a salter spreader in it, but it's got sides and shit. You know what I mean?
Right. That's actually whenever I tell people to buy, like, I don't know if I want a dump truck or a flatbed because they landscape and they need something to like haul, stones or pallets of pavers around or whatever. I'm like, well, why don't you get a stake body tipper? And they're like, what? They make those? I'm like, yeah, it's like a dump bed, but you can take the sides off.
Right.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
Or you can get like a swap and go or a hook loader. But
Sean, you could take the bed off of your truck and put a custom tipper on yours.
I thought about that.
That would be man.
Yeah, I've seen them. They have like single rear wheel custom beds available.
Remember that fab place that said that they were gonna hook you up or do? That would be sick.
No, I'm gonna get Sean in connection with our commercial sales guys or just any of the upfitters we deal with because they're really like I like those guys.
I was thinking it wouldn't be a bad idea for me to trade in my 6.2 for 7.3. It's not a terrible idea.
I'd probably keep the 6.2 for now.
I'm just for the social media aspect. There's nothing wrong with the 6.2, but
yeah, no, I could see that. That wouldn't be
the 7.3. The 7.3 is hot as far as YouTube. I don't think I need.
Do you think you driving your 6.2 every day more than your 450 or no?
No, I'm not driving it every day right now. I could if I wanted to, but I mean, I got the 450, so it drives good.
Trade in the 450 for a 600.
Ooh. It's too big.
Because that has a 7. It's not any bigger than what you're driving now.
It's not.
No, the
it's
frame
probably geared. It's probably geared too much.
No, I think it runs like a 450. 450.
Anything
something.
more than 430 is probably too much. Like you guys heard how much RPM I'm at.
You want RPM? Get a 488 and
I
take
don't
it on
want
the highway.
I don't want any more RPM. It's already
1,000 RPM.
Yeah, it's already buzzing.
I'm amazed no one has asked about the
Who dat?
The 3.2 or the 3 liter really.
Oh yeah, those things are not fun to work on whatsoever. They are not.
Aren't they very different from like a 6.7?
Well, the 3.2.
They're European.
Yeah, the 3.2 Puma is a 5-cylinder, and the 3 liter, the little.
We were talking about the
Leon.
3.2. If you could find, like, that would be a good. You wouldn't want to drop it in like a Fox body and take it to the strip?
Hell no.
Why? They're slow. They're not fast.
Hell no.
A 3.2? Have you ever driven one?
You ain't gonna catch me up in one except for working on it and trying to make warranty repairs.
Dude, those things zip.
What are the specifications of it?
It doesn't matter. Those little diesel transits can get it.
The transits?
I would I would like to see, I mean, not that I would really want to see it, but just to see somebody delete a 3.2. Like, do you think people are deleting 3.2s? I've never seen one. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen a deleted 3.2?
Probably not if they're in transits. What other vehicle is it?
They sound really cool.
I don't know. I hear them right now.
Little inline 5.
Not doing it for me. And even of the 3 liter, like I hate I don't hate these people. I just hate to see the situation that they get themselves in. It's like,
dude, you might as well have bought like a Super Duty at that point.
For real.
Because
of the cost.
My gosh.
No, it's literally cost.
Are you talking about like F-150 guys who buy the?
Yeah.
Well, I've seen all the things that I've seen on the engine. I don't know about mechanical wise, but as far as specifications go, they get good MPG, but they are slow. They don't get that.
That's not that good.
I mean, it's okay, but it's not good enough to be like. I mean, you get pretty good with a 2.7 or a 3.5, but I think they get like high 20s.
Surprised, very, very surprised.
They don't really get what they're advertised. They don't really get what they're advertised.
No.
I don't want to talk bad about my product, but I just really don't care.
I don't see the need for it.
What
should have left it over in the European market.
When
America's is not what they want.
It's not something.
They only did it because
they had to
do it.
Yeah, because it's not something that's new. They've got the engine off the shelf and just kind of shoved it in the F-150. It's not like they came out with something.
Well, it wasn't even an engine that they used. It was a Land Rover engine that they developed.
Right. Yeah. So maybe they felt like they needed a competitor against the eco diesel that's in the Ram.
There's some markets that should be just left untapped, honestly.
You know what, though? They're complicated, man. When they come down the line, the wiring's all heavy. It's got a lot of components that are like heavier duty just to go. But the engine itself, isn't that engine driven off the timing belt?
Yeah.
So it's not really.
Well, I shouldn't say
chain?
2 timing belts. No, it's a belt in the front, and then there's a rear accessory drive belt for the fuel pump, which is a serviceable item that only has a service life of 125,000 miles.
Oh,
you have 2 options to change that belt. You can pull the trans out and barely see what you're doing, or you can pull the cab off the truck.
It doesn't seem like a heavy duty engine.
But I'll say this: when I was at training a year ago, the focus of it was on the 6.7 and the 3 liter. And I'm like, why are you guys doing it on the 3 liter? This seems like it's only going to be out for about 2 or 3 years. And they're like, no, that thing's going to be out for a while. So that's why we're doing training on it.
The 3 liter?
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy that.
Because I mean, yeah, it's belt driven, and
I can't imagine
what the
that their
service
sales
life on the timing belt is.
I can't imagine.
I don't even think we really sell that many of them.
I don't think it's really meant to be really high volume. It's just an option.
How many?
I mean, how many of those do you see roll down the line when you guys are building them?
I don't know. Where I'm at, I don't really know. But I think when it first came out, I would see the badge a couple times a day.
Okay.
Maybe like 5 or 6 a day.
Okay, now, so we have to do the math of 1 every minute out the back door, and you're only seeing it 5 or 6 times a day.
Well, they may do what? 600 trucks a shift,
right?
3 shifts a day. Some days are different. Some days you might get 2. Some days you might get 5.
It just all comes down to orders and everything.
Have you ever done that recall for the EGR cooler bypass?
I personally have not done it, but we had a guy that was doing them, and he hated it.
I've done 15 of them. I got 16 after the new year.
Yeah, I think he had, dude, he had stacks.
Yeah.
Like little stacks of them.
Yeah.
Because he had to do all the ones that were on the lot, and then we had a bunch of them come in. So he probably did, like 15 or 6.
Yeah.
I'd say 15 to 20 of them he probably did when he was with us.
I want to give a big shout out to Joni Baloney for providing tonight's cookie snacks for us.
The other thing that has blown my mind lately that I don't know if it's the technology. I don't know if it's like tariffs that we have on aluminum, or because a lot of that comes from Canada. Why the hell does a 2021 F-150 XLT, no leather, no Vista, no frills, cost $57,000?
Is that the base model? Crew cab? What is that?
Dude, it was just a crew cab with cloth interior.
XLT or XL?
XLT.
How much more is that from the previous year?
I think like a ridiculous amount.
It's probably more related to.
And it was just a 3.5.
There's 2.
Like, I thought it would have had a diesel or something.
3.5. No. 3.5 is not that expensive of an option, but it is one of the top dog options. Like that 3.5 is no joke. The 3.5 EcoBoost is no joke. The 2.7 is more the base engine, but there's the 3.3. I don't know if they're still running the 3.3 in 2021. But
isn't the 3.3 going to be their just naturally aspirated engine?
They're naturally aspirated, direct injected engine. It's kind of it's very low production, very, very low production.
Yeah.
So you could almost just say the 2.7 is their entry level engine, but the 3.5 is only. I don't know about the 2021, but it's only like $1,800 of an upgrade. But it's their higher end. It's above the 5.0 as far as performance, as far as price.
After having both, what would you want to have? A 2.7 or a 3.5?
A 3.5
or a 5.0.
A 3.5.
Really?
Yeah, because the torque on the 3.5, driving the 3.5 is much more power than even my 450. Even though the 450, it puts power down, power to weight.
You're just feeling seat of the pants dyno because of the way the power comes on because of the turbos.
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
100%. Well, here's the thing about the turbos. You have the
Are the turbos on? Are those VGT turbos? They're not, are they?
Not on Gen 2.
No.
Right. So you're just getting, just feeling the boost ramp more than anything.
No, but here's the thing about the turbos. You have 2 small turbos right on the side of the engine. So you don't have like a 6.7's got a bigger turbo.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the EcoBoost implements 2 small turbos. So they spool up fast and they have the benefits of a bigger turbo because they just work together. So
I mean, we could get into the nitty-gritty of boost and all that and air density.
I don't know. I think that design that the 3.5 and the 2.7 implement is a superior design as far as turbos are concerned, because there's always a drawback to a bigger turbo. There's always a drawback to a smaller turbo. But if you have two small turbos that work together at the same time, that's kind of a better design, in my opinion.
I mean, we talk about the genius fact that Ford went with reverse flow heads on the 6.7.
I wonder, now here's the thing. Is reverse flow heads better than the EcoBoost layout?
Depends on application, but as far
as there is you could bring up heat management, but the downside is those sharp turns that the air has to make in order to flow through that reverse flow design. So
it doesn't care.
Design. It doesn't care, true, but
I mean, it's just going, dude. The other thing is like the manifolds on a 6.7 are almost comical. Same with the exhaust ports. It makes me laugh that they can get that much power out of
Here's the thing, the one big turbo versus the design.
But it's a VGT turbo, and the AR is actually I think when I looked at the aspect ratio
on the 6.7, it is, or
yeah, A-Rod, isn't the aspect ratio on 6.7s pretty small? Like it's a 0.86. So, I mean, dude, those things spool quick.
I think it is.
I think.
Yeah, but I wonder. I'd be curious to which one would spool faster, regardless of which fuel type we're talking about. But I wouldn't be surprised if a 3.5 EcoBoost could spool faster than a 6.7.
I mean, but spooling is. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like VGT turbos, I think they're awesome.
I really would be interested in what design is superior, because like you say, 6.7 has better thermal performance because the heat's kept up top.
The 6.4 had twins compounds, and when Ford
right.
They didn't do that for a reason.
Well, that was a good design as far as performance, but it wasn't as reliable.
But I will say, I doubt Ford is going to go to a twin setup on their diesel trucks that are going to idle a lot, because then you just have more oiling demands and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe, but they'd have to be smaller turbos, so it wouldn't be.
I don't know where you'd put them. Honest, I don't know where you'd put them.
Well, if you're talking like that, then the whole layout would be different than how it is now, and
they'd have to go with they'd have to do opposed pistons.
Like the 6.7's got so much more stuff under the hood, so it probably wouldn't be no room. It's got all kinds of coolers.
I mean, we've obviously seen people do it, but they're running race trucks and they stick the however many extra turbos they're going to add. They throw it over where the EGR cooler would have been on the passenger side valve cover.
Well, one point about that design is you could integrate the exhaust manifolds, like on the 2.7, how they were integrated into the head. That saves a lot of room. So
it does, but heady folds do, but they don't. They make the top of the engine very, very bulky.
Right. Well, that whole reverse flow design on the 6.7 is pretty bulky.
I mean, true.
That
is a wide engine,
but it's still a 6.7.
Right. Well, let's just look at the power numbers on the 2.7, and what if you made that much power per cubic inch? And it was 6.7 liters.
You can't use that as an argument anymore.
Right, because it doesn't scale up like that.
No. And we could bring literally one of my favorite human beings to walk the earth, Gale Banks. I praise you in your knowledge of everything. Because he was saying, back in the day, there's no replacement for displacement.
Right.
But now we're going to forced induction and smaller displacement. There's your replacement.
Right.
How can we get Gale Banks on the podcast?
I don't think that would ever happen. I wouldn't feel worthy to talk to him.
It might happen. I wouldn't either, for sure. But it might happen if you hit like 200K subscribers. Then you could you got to hurry up.
We'd have to talk about Duramaxes or something.
I got a Ford engineer who wants to get on the podcast. I'm kind of excited about that. So,
Gale Banks.
Is he a truck engineer?
The 6.7, he is in charge of the 6.7 group.
Ooh, I might have an idea of who you're talking about then. But I'm not going to name drop. So
we'll see. I don't know if if it's going to go down. But, you know, I had reached out to him and told him, you know, what I got going on, and actually had to look at his son's truck. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's the cool thing is you guys get like, just because of where your store's located, you probably get a lot of cool people coming in there.
Yeah. I mean,
I will say he still is a customer of ours. The, now former CEO of Ford is a customer of ours because he's.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
You know what? Hey, you brought up Gail Banks. Gail Banks is cool with me and AMSOIL.
He's cool with you and AMSOIL, or he's cool?
He's pushing AMSOIL hardcore, bro. He's not pushing Motorcraft. He's pushing AMSOIL so hard.
Well, like, yeah, that's because he's Gail Banks. He has a giant engineering god that supplies the military with its engine for their MRAPs.
That's pretty deep.
I'm thinking about making the AMSOIL.
He thinks he's the cat's pajamas.
What do we got in there?
Yeah.
What's in here? Nothing really.
Now I want to know what the heck is this dealer kit?
Yeah, what's an AMSOIL dealer kit? What's in the snake oil kit?
Come on.
There's a lot of snake oil.
They give you some. They give you
Arch oil.
I became a dealer. I became a dealer, and then I'm like, look at all this snake oil. I don't know. They gave me a bunch of stuff.
There's a lot of snake oil out there.
Is anybody a chiropractor? I feel like I need like an adjustment. They gave me or something.
Some metal protector spray, which isn't that good.
Why? So they can make your back even more sore. You have to come back in a couple days.
No,
the cycle continues. I just had my lady crack my back for me.
Really?
Gasoline.
The heck? What the heck is that?
Dude, you want to talk
performance improver?
Do you ever go to the hardware store?
My nose is cold.
You know, like I think VP
Quick Shot gasoline treatment.
I think like a couple different companies make the pre-mixed gasoline in a can.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
You ever see people staring at it and they wait for you to clear the aisle because they don't want to be embarrassed that they're buying it for like
what do I get?
For like $24.
What are you talking about? Pre-mixed gasoline in a can? You mean like two-stroke?
Yeah, like the two-stroke 50-to-1 premix, but it has gasoline in it.
People are buying it and scared. What do you mean, dude? Who's
like
scared to show?
You'll be sitting in the aisle, and you're like, "Who the hell would ever buy that?" And you know the guy. You know the guy can read your thoughts because he's about to grab it. He's like, I don't know if I want to buy this with him looking at me right now. I don't want him to know that I don't know how to mix gas.
I've picked that stuff up and I'm like, why, man? Look, bro, this is what I'm running. Red Max 2-stroke, 5 gallons at a time.
Oh,
is that a quart or is it smaller?
Have we talked about this before? What TA 357 is?
No.
I know what it is.
Yeah, they just put their sticker on it.
It's what?
The RTV that they use to seal almost everything now.
Oh, you did bring that up
before.
A couple weeks ago. You brought that up.
Yeah, we peel the sticker off. I seen. Did you send me like an Instagram post of somebody doing that?
Yeah, and then of course me being a freaking ping pong brain, sprinted to my pile of them and had to peel the sticker off, and I was freaking out.
And did it say Loctite? I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, it's a Loctite tube.
No kidding.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I've always thought it was strange that all the other Motorcraft things of RTV don't have that little plastic cap on the top, the little one to like cap it off. Like there's no way that's a Ford thing, and I've always thought that.
I'm glad you brought that up. You know, it's like I want to run Motorcraft 100%, but they're not going to partner with me like AMSOIL will partner with me. I can become a dealer or whatever. I can get a link. I can share that. Motorcraft ain't going to do that for me. So I almost want to just run, some AMSOIL in it because I like AMSOIL. It's high quality stuff. Their oil analysis and their products are good. Their oil's good.
We got trucks with, 7.3s get to 1 million miles and they're running all Motorcraft. We got 6.7s that are, high 400s, high 500,000 miles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what too, though? Our little birdie told me that there's some Ford heavy duty trucks that run Motorcraft and blow turbos. have issues. The ones that work hard, they run the blend. They don't run the Motorcraft synthetic. Now, if you're going to run the Motorcraft 5W40 synthetic, then maybe that's a different story.
What trucks are blowing turbos?
I don't know, some kind of failures of just oil failures, like everything the oil touches.
The only failures I see are they're getting too hot and they're fracturing the turbine wheel.
Like coolant, like they had a coolant loss. How'd they get too hot?
Like
not from coolant loss.
And heat management was causing overspeeding.
So the oil failed the oil failed because it was too hot. The oil got too hot.
No, it didn't over like that. The temperature inside the housing got too hot.
Like they're doing 10,000-mile oil changes and they're not shutting the shit off, and then they're coming in trying to get warranty work, and they have all the maintenance records, and it's like, well, I don't think that these trucks should be doing.
Okay. The miles are thrown out if you have that much idling, because your miles won't ever get high. For example, you're doing 10,000-mile oil change. If I did a 10,000-mile oil change on my duty, I'd be on my second oil change. I probably would have blew my motor. I've had it for a couple years. The way it's driven, it just doesn't rack up miles. It has more hours. It has more towing of short distances. The miles, if I gotta have density in my business, I can't just be driving miles and miles all over the place. So my oil life monitor, I think when I change my oil life monitor is usually at like 10 or 12% left.
Those are supposed to calculate engine hours and load and everything.
But my miles are usually half, if not less than half, used up according to the sticker. So if I run on a sticker, put on the window, I'll blow engines. But if I I typically will change my oil like once a year, and I'll be like 10% left, and I'll run full synthetic because I'm going a year anyway. So I'm going kind of far out as far as time, as far as time in general. I think
I'm just a big every 5,000 guy.
Yeah, but see, 5,000 for me might not be enough. At 5,000 miles, I've probably already done a couple oil, maybe two. I don't know, 2 oil changes, because I don't put 5,000 miles. I don't think. One time I went to buy a truck and it had 250 miles on it, and he had a snow plow on it. He was trying to sell it. The guy was trying to sell it to me as new. I won't say the dealer. He was trying to sell it to me as a brand new truck, but I could tell that the blade on the plow had been like worn down a little bit.
It could have been one of their lot trucks.
It was one of their lot trucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I walked away from the deal because they had the truck hidden in the back, and I'm looking at those fancy looking clean ones up front, and I was walking a lot, and I was like, hey, what about this truck? And he goes, oh, this is the one, but we just didn't detail it yet. It was all dirty. It looked like it'd been worked. He goes, yeah, we're gonna detail it first. And I'm like, dude, and then I looked at the miles. It had like 250 miles on it. And I'm like, it's a lot of miles for it to be sold as a new truck, and it looks worn. It looks, the plow looks worn out. The hours were much higher than 250 miles worth of hours. It was like, yeah, you scraped your lot for 250 miles. How many storms is that? That's the whole,
that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was like a couple snow. That was like 2 years of plowing.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends who their upfitter or bodybuilder is too, that they get their plows from, because they might drive it all the way across the state to get the plow put on and then drive it back.
No, it was NBC, and NBC is around the corner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
this kind of makes me want to go back to the turbo thing with the failures that we usually see on the cabin chassis. What do you think causes that?
I'm gonna find out.
You know what I think?
Because my thought has always been it's heat stress, but they overspeed. They usually overspeed, and they can't handle the inertia.
Well, maybe that's why Ford derates their cabin chassis trucks when they use a different turbo and they push less power because they're like, hey, why are we gonna tune these trucks up more when they have more failures? But the service life of a work truck, a truck that's really used for work, it just doesn't do the mileage. So if they're gonna do their maintenance based on mileage, who knows what they're doing with their computer? And those big companies, like once the trip, maybe they're resetting that trip computer. It's like oil change. Well, my miles, there's not enough miles.
I mean, a lot of my customers are doing 25, 30K a year on their trucks.
Damn.
Some are, yeah.
I think there was one I brought home to see if it had a steering shimmy. I think it was an 18. It already had 110 on it.
So some are driving a lot of miles?
Most of them are, because like we'll have, trying to think, one of our customers is like a telecommunications company.
That's hella.
They take their trucks all over the place.
How much weight do they carry? They might be pushing close to gross vehicle. Lot. So they're at a high weight. They're pretty much hauling the weight the whole time.
They're working. They're doing what a Super Duty is supposed to do. They're supposed to haul whatever you want, wherever you want, anytime, and do it safely and do it comfortably and freaking look good doing it. I don't care if it's dirty, you're doing in horse shit, or you're doing what Sean's doing in his 450 towing landscaping trailer. I mean,
yeah, I think we can all agree.
Come on.
The worst truck to roll through that door is always the septic truck.
Come on.
I hate when those things come through because they stink.
Come on. I saw one the other day.
Or a grease trap truck.
Yeah, anything that has a pump on it, I get.
Well, here's where I'm on a controversial side. Is like, I feel like if you're gonna have like a DTE energy truck or whatever, and you're gonna be pushing it, got a big boom on it and a bunch of equipment and gear, and guys are gonna be driving it, pushing it hard to the limit. It's gonna be idling a lot. It's gonna be putting on tons of miles. This is where it gets a little controversial, but I say run the full synthetic. You know, put the full synthetic in that truck. You know, 5W40.
They're not going to. They're looking at cost, and most of them have ESP on their trucks anyway. So if something happens to it, it's covered.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I mean, now I wonder if you run the full synthetic, you still got to do the same intervals. So it is just more cost. But the only difference is the oil. It's not like you get a different filter. It's not like you get. I mean, how much more is a synthetic oil change?
Here's how I look at it.
What?
This is going to be my end all. No, this is going to be my end all. I'm not going to argue about it anymore. The same reason I don't put synthetic in them is the same reason you shouldn't put premium in your car that only requires 87.
No.
Yep.
I mean, not really. Your vehicle isn't going to knock on 87, so why would you put 93?
Because you want it to.
Yeah, your vehicle's not.
If your vehicle doesn't require synthetic, I don't see the point in doing it. It's like if your vehicle doesn't require 93 doesn't give you better fuel economy.
How can you say that a vehicle that's turbocharged and that's having this kind of pressure wouldn't benefit from a full synthetic oil when I feel like Ford offers a cheaper maintenance package just to make the vehicle more appealing? Full synthetic oils just far superior.
Well, then why don't all the semis run full synthetic all the time?
Maybe they do.
A lot of the semi guys run. A lot of the semi guys who are over the road run full synthetic, and they limit their oil changes and do an oil analysis because their oil changes on those are pretty expensive.
Yeah, I've heard of that before.
They're 14.7 liters. Well, when I was working on semis, I saw we had those Cat 14.7 liter engines, but the oil changes were pretty big oil changes.
But those guys are going like 40,000 miles on an oil change.
Right.
They have so much, and they have crazy filtration.
They do the 40,000 miles or more, but they're doing analysis and whatnot. Those trucks are kind of hard on the oil, and the filtration usually is going to. they're going to have another level. Like the stock filtration is probably not that much different from what a Super Duty would have, but they probably run a auxiliary filter. You know, what do they call those filters? Bypass filter or something, if they're going to run the extended intervals. But they save a lot of money by doing the analysis and pushing their oil changes because they do so many miles. I would think when you're seeing these turbo failures, there's so much heat involved in a turbocharged vehicle. It's in Ford's interest to have a cheaper maintenance package. But maybe that cheaper maintenance package is not the best for something that's worked that hard.
Right, but you can provide, you can give it to them for free. That does not mean they're gonna bring it in.
Well, it almost have to be like some kind of side-by-side comparison to really know. Like, there's no big company that's actually running the full synthetic, and we're like, well, we never see failures on the full synthetic vehicles. Most people are just running the blend. How many failures? But if you see a failure, you don't necessarily know what oil. I mean, I guess you do. Kind of know.
Maybe I'm just not seeing the trucks that have full synthetic in them because they don't break. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that too.
And they're not running it as often either.
Do you think out of the repairs that you do, like if you were to take this year 2020, out of all the trucks that you've worked on in 2020, do you think more of them have been pickup, or do you think more of them have been cab chassis?
Oh, dude, cab and chassis. Ever since I think, well, I don't know. I it's solely based on our area too, though.
And the work they're doing there,
I think I'm not going to
say
that. I think like wherever we are, we have the largest, most capable shop of doing it. But I think that's a contributing factor.
I can feel you,
because I think like there's a lot of dealers that just can't handle a cab and chassis truck. They don't have the equipment for it, or they don't have the space.
Right. Yeah.
But
even to take in the configuration it has on the back or something,
right? Or they don't have anywhere they don't have anywhere to park it,
right? We can't even get this thing in our lot.
Yeah, I mean that's a majority of our work is. I don't know if it's 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. It seems like it goes in spurts, but I'd say a lot of the work we do is commercial truck, cabin chassis, Econoline cutaway, that kind of work.
My thing on the synthetic oil is I watch good old Project Farms, and it's weird that you can see a measurable difference just between all the different, not only just oils, but different brands of synthetic oil with very basic equipment. I'm not talking like multi-million-dollar lab. I'm talking about like this guy's got a piece of metal spinning against another piece of metal.
He's
measuring how much wear. You can actually see the difference between Pennzoil, between Mobil 1, between Schaefer's. There is a difference here. If you run a conventional oil for wear,
I'm not denying that there's a difference or anything. It's just
not only the wear,
they engineered the vehicle because it needs somewhere along the line they would have been
not only
this
the
thing
wear,
needs synthetic oil.
Not only the wear, but the heat, the ability to handle heat is much better on a synthetic oil. The flow of the oil after it's been cooked for a while is still good with the synthetic, where the conventionals don't flow good after they've been heated up.
I thought that was a good video that he made, just like you were saying, doing like a comparison by all those.
He's tested pretty much like 80 to 90% of the oils on the market, and then even some diesel oils. But time and time again, even basic tests like that, you show when the cook oil and it's froze, it's doing a freeze test. We're seeing how it flows.
Dude, I guess another thing that I guess I kind of question with running full synthetic is how much really is it going to matter in a diesel once you consider how much contamination it's going to get from soot.
That's a good point. Well, it's gonna
black soon if you were to.
Well, it's not. It's always gonna look black. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but it's still gonna have soot in it. So,
like,
is there an advantage over a disadvantage? Is there a reason why they're using synthetic versus
the soot? The soot is so fine that it colors the oil dark, but it's still going to require you to change the oil at the same interval and all that. But it's so fine that it's not really too much of an issue for wear, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting sick of talking about oil.
A soot particle is how tiny.
Let's talk about suspension. You want to talk about suspension? Let's talk about suspension.
Before we go to that, I'll recommend running full synthetic. That's it.
My vote is run what's on the cap.
What about full synthetics on the cap? It says you can run it right on the cap, doesn't it? Doesn't it say 5W30 or 5W40 for severe use?
It also says 1030 for severe use.
Or 1030, I'm sorry. Do they have a 1030 synthetic and a 540 synthetic?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know the 5W40 is the full synthetic, and that's what they run in the transits.
What do you want to talk about suspension?
Some people were asking about lift kits and leveling, which brings up a very good point of buying. If you're going, I'm going to say if you're going to get a leveling kit, make sure it comes with the associated bracketry or pitman arms to keep your geometry correct, so that you're not binding or wearing out components. Because I'll see a lot of people that get a leveling kit and they're like, hey, why is my axle offset to the left now?
And the brake line bracket drops so that your brake lines are being pulled like freaking rubber bands.
Or your ABS wires.
Oh, yeah, I guess those too.
Or your vacuum lines.
Will a leveling kit throw your center of steering off a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, my center of steering is off a little bit on my 250, but I've been plowing for a couple years.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to wear stuff out when you're plowing. That's just the nature of the beast, because you're turning the wheel a lot more, or...
It seems like I've pulled that front end down just a little bit from that heavy plow.
Really? But my full recommendation is, if you're going to get a leveling kit, make sure it has a pitman arm drop bracket that keeps the same geometry so you can keep your axle all square and good. And then you might want to get a pitman arm that drops more, just so you're not wearing out drag link ends.
One question that I have for you as far as suspension is, can you upgrade your stabilizer shock or whatever you would call that?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. They have dual stabilizer kits.
The best. And will that help a little bit? The 450 wanders a little bit.
That's honestly going to come from the fact that you're running a 10 ply heavy truck tire, and they're much more narrower.
Yeah.
So it's going to grab the groove in the road. It's just going to. And because your front, what is it? Your track width, right? That's the
wide track. Yeah.
Super extra wide.
Yeah. But because of your track width in the front, it's just naturally going to want to grab whatever groove is in the road.
It's not, that part's not too terribly bad. It's even when you hit the smooth asphalt, it's kind of, I've gotten used to it, but it's you've got to really pay attention.
I think when I pulled your truck out of the shop compared to pulling my truck out of the shop, like you're like turning your front end and just hitting your steering wheel is like, I can definitely tell.
It whips. It definitely whips.
So once I finally got in a truck that had the electric assist.
Oh yeah.
I don't like it.
Why?
No. I've got
it doesn't feel natural to me. It feels
I've got adaptive steering too.
It feels like I'm playing like an arcade game. Like the steering just doesn't feel I don't feel like I'm getting any feedback in the wheel.
Really?
It just feels very electronic to me.
That's funny.
But this one was also this was a 2020 Tremor that had trailer, backup assist and everything on it. So it had the motor in it, and I just wasn't feeling it. Because it wasn't like, you'll get in some trucks and it's either because they have a lot of weight in the back or they just take care of it, where you can literally just sit there with one finger and spin the wheel real easy, but you have good feedback. This was like, I didn't even have to touch it. And the wheel was like, so then I'm driving it and I'm like, I really don't know how I feel about this.
That's funny. Ain't like my 6.0.
With the power steering pump that goes.
Yeah, I bet you got tons of feedback there.
Well, I mean, I'm just comparing it to all the other trucks I drive because it's like I probably drive other people's trucks more than I drive my own throughout, the week.
Oh yeah.
But
oh yeah. It is
it's something different that I mean, I like it. I like electronic power steering and like my Focus in like a passenger vehicle, but it's like in a truck, I want that feedback,
It's that
my 450 still feels very truckish.
It's very trucky.
Yeah, it's pretty raw. I mean, it's like it's not uncomfortable at all, but it's not refined. It's not really that refined. My wife was looking at me like, "Oh boy, this thing is definitely driving like a truck." First time she got in it.
Well, was she riding with you in it today when you were with the spreader and shit?
It is.
Yeah.
That's funny shit, dude.
Well, yeah. Have you filled your spreader up yet on your 450?
I haven't even used it. No.
I'd bet it probably actually rides better.
He's like just waiting to use it.
I don't know, man. It's like
just
I almost wish I would have waited a year to do everything. Like
no, you got all giddy.
Yeah, I want to know what it's like to plow with it, but it's so slow, man. It's not snowing at all. Like it's not cold. So we'll see, My one truck is fine. I could have been fine with just the one, but next year I'll be able to maybe bid on some new stuff. It's more for fun.
What else do we got here?
We are coming up on the hour.
Oh, fluid film. Someone was asking, Tom Jubb says, how do you feel about fluid film with these aluminum bodies? Is fluid film enough for rust proofing? I also live in Michigan and worried about the amount of salt they use.
Number one, the body, I wouldn't worry about fluid filming the aluminum body because it's aluminum. So what is fluid film going to do for aluminum? As far as axles and everything, when I've used fluid film on metal components that are in the weather, it does add some level of protection, but I mean, the weather will wash it off. But if you're washing your truck off, you're going to be washing your fluid film off anyway. So, I don't know.
I think the most important, other than like doing general maintenance, the most beneficial thing you can do with your truck, pending that it fits in a car wash, and especially during winter, if your state uses salt or calcium chloride or whatever they use, is get a underbody flush.
Yeah, every time I could see that.
Get an underbody flush.
One thing that I realized that I'm missing on the underbody on my trucks is I'll spray the salt off pretty good, but underneath the bed, right between like the bed rails, between like right over the rear wheels, it's really difficult to spray that spot off. So you'll be looking at underneath your truck in the summer and it'll still be salty because it's so hard to reach way under without like a drive-through car wash. Because I gotta go to the spray station, the one where you gotta spray it off yourself, and the coin car wash.
Yeah, I mean, luckily with the way we have our hoist set up at work, it's right by one set of them we have is right by our wash rack. So if I do like a oil leak, I'll power wash the entire underside of people's trucks for them.
But the new paint process that's on these frames right now, the E-coat on the frames, the aluminum bodies, the materials used, I've been plowing with my 19 2 years now. It's holding up to the rust a lot better than my 15 did. The frame still looks good. I haven't fluid filmed it. I haven't undercoated it. I haven't done anything, and it's been in salt, and it's been salting parking lots for the last couple years, and I just spray it off after every storm. I spray it off the best I can. Before, if I gotta go to sleep and then spray it off, whatever. But I think one big thing that's not good if it warms up. Like if you got a salty, dirty truck, then the next day it warms up and all that
nasty
chemical reaction starts going at it. But other than that, I keep a big rubber flap hanging on the backside of the truck so salt isn't blasting from the spreader to the bumper to the hitch. So I haven't had any issues. I think they're built and painted so good that if you just rinse them off, you'll probably be all right for a good while. Or
at least power wash it off, because
power wash it off at a car wash.
You know what I mean? That would probably be the key.
Someone said something about the Fuelly app. Have either of you used that to track fuel?
The what app?
Fuelly.
Never heard of that.
It's an app where you can track your fill-ups. So like where you got your fuel, how much you paid for it, and then you type in your odometer and everything. And I think it'll also show you like the best prices.
I keep a little log book.
I finally drained my water fuel separator today to see like what would happen. Like what was gonna come out. Nothing came out. It's just fuel.
Cool.
No water. That's good.
That's a good thing.
I know. Yeah. You don't want to see water, but if you do, that's what you're gonna drink.
Don't let that be a excuse to not do it when you should.
So do I gotta still check it every month because it's been 2,000 miles and no water?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd still drain it.
Diesel fuel's a magnet. Diesel fuel's a magnet.
Yeah.
Hydroscopic.
Look it up.
I'm sure it's not that hydroscopic. It's not like brake fluid. That shit's
hey Rod, have you done a video on this? Someone was asking, did you already do a video on when you drain the fuel water separator, if you need to prime the system again?
Yeah, I've answered a bunch of questions, and I actually pinned one of those answers because it was a good comment, and I felt that it was a repeated comment that needed to be answered. And yes, you do have to prime the fuel system after you drain it, because you are draining that housing and you need to prime it to get it filled back up. So I do and would recommend priming it with the key cycle that I said with the deleted 2020 filters, where you turn the key on 10 times for 6 seconds each time to purge that back up. But I mean, I'm sure if you just waited until the fuel pump kicked off for a few times, you should be good to go.
When I did mine, I forgot to do that, but I did not drain the whole filter either. I just drained some out and then closed it up. I drained, I don't know, not very much.
Yeah, you'd be.
So
all right.
when you're checking your water, do you recommend getting like a glass jar, draining it, and then sitting there and letting the glass jar settle, and then staring at it?
Yeah, I mean, you'd know what I do with my container.
That's really the precise thing to do. Is get a clear container. Do you recommend draining the whole filter, or do you just take a sample?
I take the sample.
When I drain mine, I will go. I mean, you'll see. If it's not green, then you'll know it. If you see green start, I just wait for a steady stream of green to come out.
Yeah. So, for me, it was just a steady stream of green came out right away, and I let it settle before. I didn't just drive around and then do it. It was settling for a couple of hours, so I drained it.
That's cool. That's cool.
And it was just fuel. But if you get contaminated fuel, you could get overwhelmed with so much water so fast.
You could. I mean, it depends on how long it's been sitting in the tank at the wherever you fueled up. You could, I guess, you could pump a whole tank of water in.
Yeah.
I'd think you'd know something's up though.
You'd get a light.
You'd be like, why doesn't this smell like diesel right now? It usually smells like diesel.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, something's up, huh? You could pump a whole tank of water. But you can get overwhelmed with water. You could have a quart of water in your fuel, and that would fill everything.
Once it goes through the your primary filter, your frame mounted filter, whatever filter you want to call it, your whiff light's going to go off right away.
Oh, and most definitely.
You'd probably be like, whoa,
is it a big,
something going on here.
Is it a big light? Is it like going to flash in front of you? Like,
yeah, it'll be on the the message
it'll be on the
information part.
So at that point, you want to shut it down and go under there and see what's going on.
Yeah.
See if you get water out and you can get back to fuel. You want to shut it off right away.
I had the whiff light come on in my truck once. And yeah, there was a lot of water in there.
Oh. Wow. Hey, you don't want to just run off that light and trust that light. You want to.
No, because I mean, I think A-Rod did a video on it. If you look at the distance from the bottom of the cover, the cap, whatever it is on whatever model year your vehicle is, to where the electrodes are, it's a pretty considerable distance. I mean, you probably feel like it's probably like what, 4 to 6 ounces of water you could have in there until it turns on. And the other thing is, like, it's probably not going to turn on until, like you were saying, your truck is settled and the fuel settled and separated.
Right. Wow.
That'll actually probably be a good spot. I just wrote a note to pick up off and start number 8 podcast with good maintenance practices, starting with fuel water, and maybe elaborate more with the suspension and greasing, and maybe what DS is going to plan to do as far as rotations, what I recommend to do as rotations, and maybe even what Matt sees and does for rotations, and just something that we three conjure together with just our expertise and knowledge and experience with these trucks, and try to implement, some good practices for you guys who are starting off, whether it be a returning champ back with the Super Duty, or you're new to the Super Duty game. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we'll try not to I think a good amount of info. Try not to overwhelm them too much.
I think so.
I think we all can do that, but I would like to sneak in some synthetic oil. I'm probably going to put that in my truck, and we can add those other.
You know what? You can do whatever you want with your truck. You know why, Sean? It's your truck.
You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for coming back, and we'll catch you guys next time. See you.